Uh, just now, leaving the room with the people who were there, Sajal Dey came up to me and said essentially that he's left us hanging. There was he was referring to specific projects that the two of them were doing together, and he said that he asked me to take up the responsibility of looking through Probal's papers and seeing how uh, his part of the work in that specific project could be continued. And the thing is that Baba was doing this for his parents as well, and that itself is still unfinished. He was working on bringing together their papers and their work, seeing what's left of the projects that they had left unfinished. And I will seek all of your help and assistance in taking on this responsibility for the rest of my life. Uh, I'm not a linguist, a philosopher, an Esperantist. I'm not any of those things. I'm a journalist, utterly unqualified to take on these intellectual projects. And yet, Baba would send almost everything he wrote to me for review, uh, even though I was not always able to respond. He often would make it easy for me by giving me the gist of it on a phone call and allow me to respond on impromptu in the moment. He relied on me for my political input, essentially. And the very last evening, I had called him when he was a bit under the weather, although it wasn't clear what was going to come. And on my agenda for that day, for that phone call, after getting over the uh, practical aspects of the reasons I had called him, was I wanted to seek his opinion on AI. He had recently learned to use ChatGPT with my help, and I know that he uh, he was closely involved in the linguistics uh, origin of AI. He was part of several groups that were doing research on machine translation, and before the turn to statistics in that discipline, in the discipline of machine language, that remains unfinished, although he had enthusiastically taken to its use. He would very often send me the AI outputs, asking me what what to make of them, telling me what he made of them, asking me for corrections on factual points. And another issue that is unrelated, but I wanted to address but couldn't earlier in this meeting. Um, Many people have questioned his decision to leave Hyderabad Central University and come to Calcutta. Some people have called it intellectual suicide. And I have a take on how this worked for him. It may not have been his immediate understanding of what he was doing, but I think this is what has emerged subsequently. In the immediate context, what he said is he's going back home to take care of his parents. But he had, over the course of his career, rejected, I think, 4 opportunities to take a job abroad with the position that firstly, he wants to be in India, he believed in India, and he believed in the project of working within the system, building the institutions within India. And secondly, he held firmly that he was not willing to live in the West. He says that it was at the time of the Gulf War that he realized that I can't be on this side of the divide, that I can't live in the West and uh, I can't live in the part of the world, the society that is responsible for this kind of killing around the world. And I think both of these things coalesced in his decision to come back to Calcutta. Uh, I think he felt that to some measure his project of institution building was done. Um, he was satisfied, I think, with where he was leaving things at the university. In Calcutta, also, he built an institution at the Linguistics Research Unit. But in Calcutta, what I have understood over the last week and a half is that he spent most of his time mentoring people in all the other institutions in the city, at Calcutta University, at Jadavpur University, at CSSS, people across disciplines, across uh, not just linguistics, but people in Sanskrit, people in literature, people in Pali, people in comparative literature, people in translation studies. He worked in a state government committee that looked at codifying the Bangla language and that looked at Bangla medium education. And I think this is the time when he wrote after etymology while he was still in Hyderabad, but I think this is the time when he really built out substantivism as a project and he recruited a number of people into this project. And, you know, Calcutta was home for him, but I think he was the type, and I have inherited that from him, that one doesn't stay at home. One leaves home to go out and conquer the world and maybe come back home later in your life to serve your home. And I think all of these things are how I read his choice. But to come back to what I was saying earlier, the project that he commenced with coming to Calcutta is nowhere near complete. His interest, his passionate attention to involvement in action within the Dalit movement was of his own doing, but it was also something that he sought my counsel on often. And he also attributed his renowned passion and motivation to participate in this movement to me, to my participation in it as well. And he worked very hard to draw together the strands of his thinking, his writing with this political activism, with this social movement. One of the contradictions that he was grappling with was his own position over the years has been in favor of mother tongue education, whereas the political imperative of the Dalit movement and in general in India is English language education. And he was very much on that side of the fence where it came to it politically. He was pro-English politically, but pro-Bangla or pro-mother tongue as a linguist. And that was a contradiction he was grappling with and trying to solve. Uh, he was also deeply attached to, well, he was working on trying to bring together substantivism as a linguistics paradigm with what it can take from political movements for social justice, more anthropologically grounded disciplinary work. And my responsibility now, as I see it, with all of your help, is to try and translate where he was and make something out of it that is useful for all of you. I'm once again conscious that I'm a young journalist speaking to a room full of distinguished academics, but please guide me, uh, help me go through his papers, help me go through his writing, help me go through his emails. I have a lot of emails from him. I haven't read all of them. Um, I don't know if he did the same to all of you. But I hear that in Calcutta, that's what he used to do to many of his mentees over here. Uh, he would do a lot of writing. He would write, you sent him a 3-page note to comment on, he would send you a 20-page comment back, and within a day, generally. Um, these are some of the things I have picked up, and I'm very grateful that all of you agreed to participate, agreed to speak in this event, and I hope it went as well for you as it did for me.